My dear students, welcome all of you to my new topic. Really today we will discuss about the most important part of a sentence, that is objects. The students, at the time of framing sentences in English, you have to be sure of the use of objects. So today we will discuss the object very clearly and elaborately. So it is my suggestion that you should not leave your place before the end of the video. Let's come to start the topic objects. What do we mean by an object? The part of the sentence, which is in the form of a noun or a pronoun or a noun phrase or a gerund or a clause receives the action of the verb directly or indirectly is known as an object. Look at the definition of the object. The part of the sentence which is in the form of a noun, a pronoun, a noun phrase, a gerund, or a clause receives the action of the verb directly or indirectly is known as an object. Now we have to analyze the definition through the examples. We can take different examples by which we will be able to understand the definition of the object. Shanti likes Sittu. They did it. Father loves his children. Jyoti practices swimming. He told me that he was painting fine pictures. Look at these 5 sentences and try to understand which part of the sentence is known as the object. In the first sentence, Shanti is the subject, likes is the verb, Sittu is a noun and it is used as an object. If we make a question, whom does Santi like? This part of the sentence answers the question whom. Therefore, this part is known as the object that will be discussed afterwards. According to the definition, a noun may be the object of the sentence. So, Shitu is the direct object here. Come to the second example. They did it. They is the subject. Did is the verb. And if we ask a question to the verb, what did they do? Automatically this part of the sentence answers the question what. Therefore, this part of the sentence receives the action of the verb did directly. Therefore, it is also a direct object. So here, a pronoun is used as an object. Come to the third example. Father loves his children. Father is the subject. Who loves? Who loves his children? Father loves his children. Father is the subject. Loves is the verb. Whom does father love? His children. Therefore, this part of the sentence is also an object. And it is a noun phrase. In the fourth example, Jyoti practices swimming. Who practices? Jyoti, subject. Practices is an action word. Is an action word. So it is a verb. Swimming. It is in its ing form. It functions as a noun which is known as gerund. What does Jyoti practice? This part answers the question what. So this part is known as the direct object and it is a gerund. In the fifth example, he told me that he was painting fine pictures. He is the subject. Told is the verb. Whom did he tell? This part. To whom did he tell? He told me. This part answers the question to whom. Therefore, this part is known as indirect object. What did he tell you? That he was painting fine pictures is the direct object and it is a clause. So as per the definition of object, the part of the sentence which is in the form of a noun, a pronoun, or a noun phrase, or a gerund, or a clause receives the action of the verb directly or indirectly is known as an object. My dear students, try to understand these 5 examples in which I have already understood you that a noun, a pronoun, or a noun phrase, or a gerund, or a clause may be the object of the sentence. Now we'll discuss about the types of object. According to English grammar, really it is very easy on the part of the students to know that there are two types of objects. There are two types of objects. They are direct object and indirect object. That we will discuss about them one by one. Types of object. Really, there are two types of objects. They are direct object and indirect object. At first, we'll discuss about the direct object. What do we mean by a direct object? The object which receives the action of the verb directly and answers the question of what or whom is known as a direct object. What do we mean by direct object? The object which receives the action of the verb directly and answers the question of what or whom is known as a direct object. Now we will understand the direct object through the examples. We can take the examples. My villagers have built this bridge. In the sentence, my villagers is the subject. Who have built this bridge? My villagers is the subject. And have built is the verb phrase. This verb is known as the auxiliary verb and this is known as the main verb. Now look at the sentence. This part of the sentence, this bridge, actually receives the action of the verb built directly. And in another way, we can prove that this part of the sentence is the direct object. So, we have to question the verb built. What question will you make? What have your villagers built? What have your villagers built? This part of the sentence, this bridge, answers the question what. Therefore, this part is known as direct object. We can take another example. The teacher punished the students. Who punished? The teacher punished. Subject. This is an action word. So Punished is the verb. The students is the part of the sentence that receives the action of the verb punished directly. And in another way, we can prove that this part of the sentence is known as the direct object. Whom did the teacher punish? The teacher punished the students. So, from these two examples, it is very clear that the object which receives the action of the verb directly and answers the question of what or whom is known as a direct object. Without the direct object, an indirect object can't be used in the sentence. So, my dear students, we can take another example. Mahesh plays football. In this sentence, Mahesh is the subject. Who plays football? The part of the sentence answer the question of who. And this part executes the action. Therefore, Mahesh is the subject. Plays. It is an action word. Therefore, plays is the verb. Football is the part of the sentence that receives the action of the verb play directly. So, it is the direct object. We can make the question, what does Mahesh play? What does Mahesh play? Mahesh plays football. This part of the sentence, football, answers the question, what? Therefore, this part is known as the direct object. We can take another example. Rahim painted beautiful pictures. Who painted? Rahim. Subject. Painted. It refers to an action. Therefore, it is an action word. So it is a verb. What did Rahim paint? Beautiful pictures. This part of the sentence receives the action of the verb painted directly and answers the question of what. Therefore, it is known as the direct object. I hope that you must understand what the direct object is and what is the position of the direct object. Actually, the object generally comes after the verb. So, my dear students, in order to find out the direct object in a sentence, we have to notice that the part of the sentence receives the action of the verb directly and answers the question either what or whom is known as the direct object. Now, we'll discuss about other type of object which is known as the indirect object. What do we mean by an indirect object? At first we have to define it, then through the examples we will prove whether it is indirect or not. The object which receives the action of the verb indirectly or a receiver of the direct object and answers the question of to whom or for whom is known as an indirect object. The object which receives the action of the verb indirectly or which is the receiver of the direct object and answers the question of to whom or for whom is known as an indirect object. Now we can take different examples to prove what the indirect object is in a sentence. He gave me a nice pen. Look at the sentence very carefully and find out the objects in the sentence. Who gave you a nice pen? He gave me a nice pen. Therefore, he is the subject here. Gave is an action word. Therefore, gave is the verb. People are going to find out the indirect object. We have to find out the direct object. An indirect object cannot be used alone. Without the direct object, it cannot be used with the object. He gave me a nice pen. What did he give you? This part of the sentence, a nice pen, answers the question of what. Therefore, it is a direct object. Who received you? Who received you a nice pen? This part. This part is the receiver of the direct object. This part answers the question to whom. To whom did he give a nice pen? He gave me a nice pen. Therefore, this part is known as indirect object. Ravi sent Rajesh a message. A message. Who sent Rajesh a message? Ravi. Ravi is the subject. Send is the action word. Therefore, it is the verb. What did Ravi send? Ravi sent a message. For whom? Did Ravi send a message? Rajesh. So this part is known as the indirect object. From these two examples, it is very clear that the part of the sentence that is the receiver of the direct object and answers the question either to whom or for whom is known as the indirect object. In this example, this part receives the direct object in nice pen. This part answers the question to whom. And in the second example, Rajesh receives the message. So, Rajesh is the receiver of the direct object. So, Rajesh is the indirect object. And to whom did Ravi send a message? Ravi sent Rajesh a message. Therefore, Rajesh is the indirect object. So, my dear students, I hope you will understand the definition of object and types of object, which is direct object, which is indirect object, what question are made to find out the direct object and indirect object. The general order of the object is indirect object and direct object. We can alter the order of the object. Now, in this sentence, he gave me a nice pen. Indirect object and direct object. Now, we can alter the position of these two objects. He gave a nice pen to me. When the indirect object is used after the direct object, as per the meaning, the preposition to or for is used before the indirect object. So, in this sentence, a nice pen answers the question of what? What did he give to you? A nice pen. A nice pen is the direct object and receives the action of the verb gave directly. On the other hand, in order to find out the indirect object, we have to make a question. To whom did he give a nice pen? He gave a nice pen to me. This part answers the question of whom, and this part is the receiver of the direct object. So, this part is known as indirect object. When we alter the position of the direct object and indirect object, if the direct object comes first, then the indirect object comes as per the rule of grammar, as per the meaning of the verb and sentence. The preposition to or for is used before the indirect object. Father bought a car for me. Who bought a car for you? Father is the subject. This is the action word. Bought. What did father buy for you? A car. Look at the sentence. In the sentence, the direct object is used first. And for whom did father buy a car? For me. Me is the indirect object. As the indirect object is used After the direct object, so as per the meaning of the sentence, the preposition for is used before the indirect object. So my dear students, I hope you must better understand the definition of objects, types of objects, the position of objects, and if you like my teaching, subscribe my channel, like, share, comment as far as possible, by which I will prepare the easy and best video for you. Bye.